Alright, this is Chapter 2, the Planning for Security. Alright, as with Chapter 1, this is not the most interesting class out there. I'm sorry about that, but it is a necessary evil. Okay, so, excuse me, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff here. And now let's talk about planning. Let me give you an example of poor planning, first of all. Way back when I was in the military, I was a jet engine mechanic, and I was over in Saudi Arabia, and I fixed a computer system, because I was the only one who knew about computers. So when I came back from Saudi Arabia, they moved me into computers. Obviously, I had not had a lot of training at that point. And my secretary, where I worked, wanted this program to track when people went on leave from the military. So I wrote her a piece of software to do it. She loved it, and it got shared all over Tinker. It got shared all the way up to the Pentagon level. I mean, literally, I had people from all over the world calling me for this piece of software. It was great. Well, again, I was a jet engine mechanic by job title, working in computers, was not in the computer group. The computer squadron hears about this wonderful piece of software, because instead of not everybody emailed me, they would email the computer group. They're like, what is this software you're distributing? And since it was getting distributed so widely, they wanted to see it. Well, I did finally get moved into the computer group. And we start to look at this software, see if it was developed correctly. What was the odds I developed it correctly? Zero. Zero. Well, one of the biggest problems was when I say, Heather back there is going on vacation, on leave in the military. I would prompt, what's her social security number? Because we got to track it by social. I didn't care how you entered it. So with or without spaces or dashes or colons, it didn't matter. So if Heather goes on leave one time and the person enters it with no spaces, then she goes on leave another time with spaces, 2 different people. A third time with a dash, 3 different people. Now, so you can see an issue. But it did store the data separately, which was good. So since I'm now in the software development flight and I actually had training at this point, we decided to fix it. Well, we did an evaluation of the software and what it would take to fix it. Just that one bug. How long would it take, you think?
24 hours.
2 years. That's what we evaluated. Because first of all, we did not know how the data was stored. Because literally I accepted it in any way you wanted to give it to me. So that, and along quite a few other bugs at that point, I finally said, I didn't get paid to do it. And the funny thing was, in the military, they have the thing called, what the hell is it called? I can't think now. A suggestion program. You could suggest something. Like when I was a jet engine mechanic in Germany, I worked on an F-4 fighter plane. They had a keel wide duct, which took bleed air off the engines, off the 9th stage of the compressor, which, believe it or not, is super hot. And that's what's used to pressurize the cabin and the airplane and all this stuff. Well, those ducts, it specifically says if they're cracked, you throw them away. That's what the instructions say. If they're cracked, you throw them away. So what did we do when they were cracked? We threw them away. Well, this guy from the welding shop walks in one day. He's like, why do you have this pile of ducts in this recycle bucket? We're like, dude, crack, throw away. He's like, why doesn't someone weld them? $16,000 for his suggestion. Why doesn't someone weld them? I was pissed. But back to my leaves program. Somebody put in a suggestion, because it was my program, why don't we use this worldwide? We kind of were anyway. Well, since I wrote it, the suggestion came to me. I'm like, oh, hell no, he ain't getting a penny. I said, this program sucks. Do not implement it. Do not use it, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, do not give him any money for my program. I couldn't believe someone did that. Literally put in a suggestion to use my program. Well, obviously I didn't plan the thing correctly, okay? And I knew at that point the Air Force was getting ready to switch, and now they do it. It was, it's all online now, and it's done totally different, which is great. But at that time, it was an awesome product. Okay. Another example of poor planning. Okay. You've got lots of examples of how you shouldn't do stuff. You know what D2L is? Prior to D2L, you used WebCT. Prior to that, prior to all these online systems, we used Ken Dewey's system, which was awesome. I mean, I wrote one way back when, probably 99. If you were a student here, you had access to take quizzes online. I could spit attendance and you can check grades online in 99. Nobody had that anywhere. I wrote one. Then I rewrote it. Then I rewrote it a third time because the database wasn't configured correctly. Okay? I mean, it worked. But it's one of those things, you never just do something, then add a little bit more to it, add a little, and sooner or later it's so huge, it's like, well, crap, I really didn't think about this at the beginning, so I kind of had to redo it. And after about the third or fourth, they finally came out. I mean, literally Park University was using it. I got a comment once from a student. It said, if you would just offer peanuts or popcorn, this would be the best class ever. That's the comment he submitted. So I get a call, so I teach at Park University. I get a call from the really big wig. Your reviews are amazing. What is this peanuts and popcorn he's talking about? I said, oh, I'm giving them access to do their work online, where they can check their grades. And they're like, seriously? You do that? So people at Park University started using my program. Then it finally got replaced with WebCT. So I've done a lot of weird stuff like that, but I didn't do it correctly. If I'd done it correctly, I could probably be a millionaire by now. Sergeant Grit, let me show you this guy's website. I don't always get off track. Okay, yeah, I do. I always do. But come on, it's interesting. Is anyone in the networks course? Networks? Yeah. Are you in Virginia's or someone else's?
Parents.
Okay. Up on my YouTube channel, I just recorded Chapter 2. I'm going to share it with all the adjuncts, but if you want to watch it, it's up there. You can watch it. Okay, this is a guy, grunt.com. It's not a porn site, trust me. This is Sergeant Grit Marine Specialties. I actually built his very first website. His first website, actually, I didn't build his very, very first one. His very first one was a PowerPoint slide converted to a JPEG and put on the internet. I built his first.
CSS or HTML or anything, just pure
literally,
PowerPoint.
JPEG. PowerPoint, print JPEG on the internet. That was his website. Again, this is way back when. I approached him and made a first online shopping cart for him. Charged him $500. He paid it $100 a month for 5 months. Last year, I think he cleared over $9 million. He sells everything from bumper stickers to caskets. I mean, literally everything.
We got our wedding cake topper there.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. I mean, I've known the guy since he worked out of his house. I mean, he went from his upstairs in his study to his basement, then we moved to 23rd Street, and then we moved to, 12th Street, and then now he's finally on the other side of town. I used to take care of all his computers, and I'm like, dude, I can't do it anymore. So actually, Caleb Blade from here is actually his network guy now. But he does sell everything. But if I'd only thought long term, I could have charged him a percentage. Okay. I built his first accounting software. Okay, he had a really crappy one. So I wrote him one. I've written a lot of software in my day, and he loved it. I mean, it did exactly what he wanted. I would make updates for him, then he wanted this major change. I'm like, I don't have time for this, so I recommend him switch to a commercial version. But again, it's not that I did anything wrong for the guy, it's just that I really should have asked for a percentage of his company. He started with one t-shirt. It was basically all the different areas in, I think, Vietnam where he was at. He sold it. Now he sells everything. I remember when he got his first $300. He called me, "Kid, oh my God, I got a $300 order today." Then I got a $1,000 order. I cleared $20,000 this weekend. I mean, man, if his website went down, I accidentally one time deleted his entire website. At like 6 in the morning. I'll be damned. 10 seconds, it's dawn. I'm like, I know. Give me 10 minutes, I'll be back. But it's like, shit, I deleted the wrong file. But lots of areas of poor planning, okay? So now maybe we should talk about good planning. Okay. Planning, as it says, can affect everything. The physical environment, political, legal, competitive environment, technology. Planning is everywhere. Okay. If you ever go out and visit that Marine guy, he actually has a place over by MacArthur by the airport. You can actually go walk through his warehouse. When we first did it, he has computers up front. I says, Don, what, you sure we don't want to put computers in the warehouse? Oh, no, never, never. Yeah, he's got like 60 of them out there now. So technology, there's a lot of stuff involved, okay? And initially, to people, think back in the 90s. I realize some of you are young. You probably can't think that far back. But how much money was really put in to IT in like the mid-80s and the 90s? None, because there was none, okay? So then all of a sudden you want to start budgeting and planning for something that we don't need. We've never, we functioned without it, don't you agree? I got my first bachelor's degree without the internet. It's possible. I actually had to take a class in library skills. I had to pick a topic and find 20 sources. No duplicate type. One book, one magazine, one this. 20, there's more than the internet. Trust me. That place that is now a hole in the ground has a lot of stuff. So that's how I had to do all my stuff. But originally, no one cared about IT. Okay? It says, often ask for input on decisions. That's an issue where some places fail today. They don't get input from people. If we're planning something at Rose State, we're going to implement something, okay, the brand new LRC. Who should they get their input from? What do you think? Everybody. Should students be involved? Should students be involved in the decision of what's going to be in the new LRC? Yes, they should, because you're the ones who are going to be using it. So literally they did. They had meetings for all this, but really everybody needs to be involved in this, okay? It says a dominant means of managing resources in modern organizations, okay? Planning is a big deal. Planning wastes a lot of time sometimes. When I was the faculty senate president back in 2009, I had to attend a lot of these really high-level meetings on campus where we decided the strategic plan. We decided the 5-year plan. I think I told you last week that was a meeting at Microsoft where the guy's job was the 10-year plan. What are we doing 10 years from now? It's good they're looking into the future, into the new technologies. She can wait. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you need to think about. It entails the enumeration of the sequences of actions. Building the LRC, that's a prime example. Obviously, we can't build the new one until we tear down the old walls. So that's one of the early stages. This building, they went to replace our floor and found asbestos. So they had to come in and take that out or whatever the hell they do to it. We don't know why, but if you haven't noticed, every Friday they're in here replacing floor tiles because they're popping up all over. They were in here this last Friday and probably replaced 12 of them down the main hallway. So there's always something. So it's a sequence of actions, okay? Also, direction of the future. We're going to look at our strategic plan here in a little bit, but, where do we want to go? What do you want to do, okay? It's kind of like you ask your kids, I speak to a lot of high school kids, and I always ask them what they want to do. Oh, I want to be to this, I want to be to that. You know what I always tell them? No, it ain't happening. The odds are what you want to be as a 10th or 11th or 12th grader is not going to happen. It's not. Because you don't know. I want to be a jet engine mechanic. Actually, a diesel mechanic, because that's what my dad was. I went as a jet engine mechanic. The last time I touched a jet engine was about 92. Okay? So my entire life changed at that point. So you never really know. Okay. Without specific and detailed plannings, the organizations would attempt to meet objectives and will result in inefficiency use of resources. If you don't have a plan, you might be wasting all kinds of money doing all kinds of stuff. Okay. Primary goal is to creation of a detailed plan. Okay. Precursors. It says to implement effective planning, organization leaders usually begin from previously developed positions. And this is a lot of times where people mess up because you start with what you had before. But what if you had before sucked? Okay. Sometimes you need to do best practices, see what other people are doing as well. Okay. But when it comes down to ethical, entrepreneurial, philosophical perspectives, that stuff changes now too. What do we hear on the news today? Everything's about racism on the Oscars. Isn't that the latest thing? There's Oscars are too white.
It's a topic.
Yeah, it's a topic out there. But I mean, that stuff changes. Think back to, what was it, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago. Would you ever have even heard of something like that? No, stuff changes. So, it's always changing. So, all right, it says when an organization's stated positions do not match their detailed ethical and so on, then you have an issue. Okay? Your plan becomes unmanageable and you can't support it. And there's just all kinds of issues in that area. I actually had a student threaten to call the ACLU on me because I was racist towards Muslims. Yeah. And it's funny because I actually had a Muslim student, actually a couple of them, came to me during the time, I think Ramadan, where they pray. And I actually set up in the classroom for an hour before class just so he could go in there and pray. And he wrote this big, huge, long letter to the VP of Academic Affairs. If there's anyone who's not racist, it would be getting to it. It was just funny. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that happens here. Okay, value statements can be one of the first positions. This is the trust and confidence of stakeholders and the public are important. Anyone in pen testing here? Okay, a couple of you haven't do that stalking assignment, which is due in 14? Okay. Well, you're going to have to find out about the vote when we voted for Rose State. Okay? Obviously, not everybody says yes. And I also, I cruise a lot, if you didn't know that. And I follow the head cruise director of Carnival Cruise Lines. And their new ship, they're putting USB connectors, charging ports in the cabins. Good or bad?
Question, what do they connect to? Or
Nothing, just power. Just pure power. It's awesome. People
okay.
are complaining about it. They don't want it. Why? I mean, I don't know.
Because a lot of people try to escape their digital life.
It could be. But I can't. I mean, I was literally on a cruise ship grading homework, and the guy says, "I'm sorry, I couldn't submit my homework this week because I was on a cruise ship." I'm like, "Oh, I'm literally on a cruise ship grading your homework. I don't think you had a problem." So, but the public, what people are interested in, but sometimes you have to educate the public on what's right and wrong. That's why we have so much crap in media. What's the latest advertisement for Rose State? 95% of graduates get jobs. There was a school that actually got sued for that because they, not really sued, but okay, I want proof. Show me your proof that 95% of your people are. Well, there's other schools that said 95% of people get jobs in the field when they graduate. That's a lot tougher. I mean, I got a student who works at Popeye's Chicken. He graduated from here, but he likes his job. Yeah, he wants to move, but he's been there so long, they pay him so well, he's like, so he's got a job, but is it in the field? No. So that's why we can say 95%. We didn't specifically say in the field. You might be working at McDonald's when you graduate, but just kidding. In my field, I would say majority of people do get jobs. Okay, so by establishing a formal set of principles, qualities, and value statement, you help employees, you help the public, you help everybody see what's going on. Okay, here's our mission at Microsoft. At Microsoft, our mission and values are to help people and businesses throughout the world realize their full potential. All right, let's see if we can't. Oh, I wonder if he has one. I don't know if he does or not. Sergeant Brett Values. I don't know if he has one. The core values. Oh, it's a tattoo. There you go. There's the core values. Death before dishonor. I would say that's the value, of the Marine. So even him, we can find a value statement. Funny story. He sells bumper. Let me find him here. Hold on. Come on, open up. He sells these bumper stickers. What's he selling them for today? $12.99, and some of them are for $5. Okay, this one right here, $5. Okay, is that overpriced or underpriced? What's he charge? What do you think it cost him? Cost him a nickel.
Yeah.
He sold them for a quarter. Couldn't sell any. Up the price to $5, sell tons of them. Same bumper sticker, it hasn't changed. The point is, the value of the bumper. Oh, if it's for a quarter, it's definitely cheap.
Yeah, so it's like you try.
You got to get your
Pay a
pricing
little more.
correct so that people see a value in it. I mean, come on, free food. A lot of times people won't show up, but if you charge them $1, they'll show up. It's like, it's weird. It's just weird. Okay, but values, everybody has them. Okay, we're gonna look more at that. The vision statement says should be ambiguous. I hate writing those because it's actually. Let's look at row states. We're gonna look at it here before long. Anyway, come on. We're gonna rows the edu. Okay, we're gonna look for mission statement. I know it's here. We've seen it already. Okay, about us. Values, missions, and vision. Okay, mission is a public and open admission institution that grants associate degrees. Rose State College provides higher level programs and services intended to foster lifelong learning for a diverse population. Wow. If you had to write one, would you have come up with that? No, that's probably a ton of people involved. I mean, I literally was at those committees, they work on these things, and you would spend an entire hour. Should that be a capital A or a lowercase? That kind of stuff. It's like, sorry, killed me. I couldn't handle it. Okay. So it should be ambiguous. We meant that. Not meant to express the probability, only the possible. So did they say in there, yes, you're probably going to graduate and get it? No. I mean, what can you do? We're going to help people expand their knowledge and so on and so forth. Many organizations mix or combine the vision and the mission statement together. Some put them separately. We're going to look at a couple of different ones here in a minute. Now, was that the mission or the vision we looked at?
That was the mission.
That was the mission. Okay. Okay, it should be concise. Now, we're short. Shouldn't be huge. When people get on my grant, I ask them to write me a short essay of why you want to get free money, basically. Most students write me a short essay. This guy wrote, it was like 8 pages. I'm like, serious? I don't have time to read that much. Okay. But be concise, internal and external organizations. Okay, I don't think ours really talks too much about the internals of our company, which is okay because really we're an outward company. We're here for students, and a lot of people, believe it or not, in my opinion, Rose State missed that. Years ago, I still remember I'd be teaching up in room 200, and I'll be darned. I teach a 5:40 class, and right in the middle of my lecture, computer's rebooting in 1 minute. Install updates. I'm like, are you serious? I called and complained like, the college goes home at 4 o'clock, so we do updates at 5:30. And if the computer's off, as soon as you reboot, I'm like, what about classes that meet at 5:40? Oh yeah. Like, why are we here as a school? So many times I have to remind people, our mission here at Rose State is not to pay Ken Dewey money. I wish it was. It's for you guys. So many times it's like, hey, this is what students need. We need to get this done. So, it's crazy. Okay, robust enough to remain valid for a period of 4 to 6 years. There's a big problem with that. A lot of people never update stuff. Never. Okay, and I actually pointed out a lot of stuff at Rose State that wasn't updated. When we were submitting our CAE2Y certification the first time, I contacted IT because I could not find the mission statement of the IT department. I'm like, what is your mission statement? I don't have one. I'm like, gotta have one. I don't have one. Whatever the president wants. Literally, that's what they sent me. Whatever the president wants. I'm like, I'm not submitting whatever the president wants. So I actually wrote their mission statement a couple of years ago because I had to have something. I mean, literally, they had nothing. Okay? I don't remember exactly what I wrote, to support the college and the students and blah, blah, blah. But literally, a mission statement of whatever the president wants is probably not where you need to go. Okay? It says, many organizations encourage each division or major department to have their own. IT should have one. Okay? Which they didn't at that time. Okay? Okay, the follow-up says the vision statement states where the organization wants to go and the mission statement how it wants to get there. Actually, let's look at the difference between these two here. So we looked at our mission. Our vision, supporting, serving, and advancing the common good, sustaining and advancing a tradition of excellence. Okay, probably would not have gone there. I would have said something about, in my opinion, we're a public institution. We teach students, so I think students should be part of each of these. Okay? But I mean, again, that's approved by everybody under the sun. That's what they came up with. But a lot of times I tell people, if you have a committee of one, how easy is it to make a decision? Simple. A committee of two is probably simple. What if you have a committee of 20? No, it ain't happening. There's always an issue. And yeah, I literally have some committees that have that many people. It's like, are you kidding me? Okay. So they provide a philosophical foundation of planning. Okay, and that is used in the strategic plan. Yay, strategic plan. You have an assignment in this, by the way, which we're going to look at real quick so you can get an idea of what you're going to have to do as we talk about this. This is up there. It says, to understand what strategic plan is, acquire one for your place of work or any organization. If you can't find you one, I gave you road states. Okay? Upload a copy of what you find. I want to know, when was it developed? What was the mission? Does the organization have any challenges? What are some of them? Do they have any goals? What are some of them? Any other thing you can put in so I know you actually read it. Okay? But I found tons of them. Here, let me show you an easy one. A short one. No, I type MIT, and theirs was like crazy short. MIT. I don't know if this, but I mean, it's really short. That is their strategic plan right there. Okay. We enroll, educate, and inspire some of the world's brightest students with a passion for learning and sense of self so that they become the next generation of creative thinkers and learners in global society. And it continues on. But I mean, there's tons of them out there. Okay. Now theirs, like I said, is very short. That's literally the entire thing. Others are very long. But find one of them. Pick a company. Tell me a little bit about it. Okay? I mean, you can use this one for all I care. And I did supply you with a row state, so if you can't find one, you can look at that. Okay? All right. So it says strategic plans formed at the highest level of the organization, translated into specific plans or immediate layer. So what are we going to do? Okay? What is this called? I'll tell you, ours at row state has changed drastically. We had no risk assessment officer for years. We have one now. There was a lot of areas of the college we didn't have that we do have now. But we've also, changed since then even. So it says plans and then converted to
Sorry, what do you mean risk assessment officer?
basically the risk on campus.
Like to the students or as an
Institution-wide. I mean, everything to the risk of the students, to the faculty, to everybody. We really had no person years ago that did that. It was kind of one of those things you don't know you need it. Kind of like IT. Why do you need an IT department? Years ago we didn't have one. Then all of a sudden we knew we needed one. So we had no person in charge of risk. And we had no security officer. Now they've got a dorm, that brings in a whole nother issue. Because now we got students living here. It means we've got to have security 24/7. And what happens if they get drunk and have a party? I did not view this, but I was told the beds that they originally got were queen size. Probably not a good idea in dorms. I can see the news article. The population at Rose State has tripled this year. But alright, so let's continue on. Okay. Strategic plan should involve who? Everybody. Okay. From the CEO down. Okay. Organizational strategy, IT strategy. Now, I think I mentioned last week about that one school that pays IT first. I told you that, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's an awesome idea because I work in IT, kind of. But, is that right for everybody? I don't know. Really depends. I would say it depends on the organization. But I do think a lot of people skimp in that area. And then you got, Telefloral. You all know what Telefloral is. Buy some flowers online. They were hiring a network security analyst for $75,000. I mean, if you just think, Telefloral, security analyst, $75,000? Wow, I mean, would you put the two together? How about the Oakland City Zoo? They're hiring a cybersecurity person right now. I posted on the Cyber Club page. The zoo? But they got computers. So, I mean, everybody needs it, which I think it's awesome that people are starting to realize it. So, okay. Okay. Technical planning, operational planning, a lot of stuff involved here. Okay. I mean, these security phones here, I mean, this is actually somewhat new at Rose State. Now, new to you guys, I mean, I've been here many years, but we didn't have phones to call security. We didn't have the ability to lock our doors in case of a bad guy walking down the hall. So, so things are changing. Okay, creating one. It says must create an overall strategic plan by extending the general strategy into specific plans or major divisions. Okay. Again, they vary. I mean, there is no right or wrong answer on this. Okay. I think when Eileen taught this class, she had you write a strategic plan. I think you get more out of it reviewing someone else's than worrying about writing one yourself at this point. So.
I read one for her, but it was in a different class. It was the one.
Probably ESM.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took ESM, ISM, combined them together. And if y'all look in the Dropbox, man, there's only one assignment you're supposed to do so far. Y'all got that okay? The rest I said, I just didn't delete the other ones. Those are hold assignments. I might want to use them. I just don't want to at the moment. So don't do those yet. Did I put don't do them on there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you know every one you have to do. Okay. The conversion of goals from strategic level to the next lower level relies on executives' ability to know and understand. That's something you also might want to think about. You have a president of the college or a CEO of the company. Do they really understand what everybody needs or does? Do you think our president, Dr. Jeannie Webb, really understands cybersecurity to the point of what Ken Dewey needs? Probably not. But she relies on other people, which is what she should do. But should she go in with a very closed mind and says, no, it's stupid. We shouldn't be buying software that I have no idea what it is? No, she shouldn't. Okay? Okay. Negotiate with peers, superiors, and subordinates. You should always get everybody's input on it and go from there. Okay? Planning part 1 says, once strategic goals of each major division have been identified, to translate those into tasks for specific things. I mean, what are we going to do to make sure this happens? Okay, because if we have this goal, don't we want to get to this goal at one point? We've got this plan. We might want to make it so we go toward what the plan says. Okay, so this whole thing is to create plans, which in turn are used to develop operational plans. All right, here's our plan. We have a strategic plan, then a tactical plan, then operational plan, then the same for another division. Now, are all divisions the same? I could see at Rose State, maybe they actually could be. I mean, humanities, social science, they're not that much different in the scheme of things. Now, yeah, BIT might have more software over here, but still, we're teaching classes just like they're teaching classes. So I really don't think the strategic plan should vary by division. Now, I could see different schools have different strategic plans. Rose State strategic plan should be vastly different than OSU because they're multi-campus, 4-year degree, we're not. So I can see that being different. Okay, it says tactical is a more short-term focus, breaks down each applicable strategic goal into a series of incremental objectives. Okay, little things we can do to meet. Okay. Budgeting, resources, personnel. This stuff changes all the time, and actually, like right now, we're losing our budgeting. We're losing personnel because of budgeting. So, I told you we got a 1.79 budget cut, 1.79 million for next year already, and it's crazy. Okay, we just need to win the lottery. That's what.
Don't play.
Yeah. I think I bought $2 worth on this last one. That's all I bought all year. It was funny. We were at our beginning of the year meeting, and the president got up there. She goes, I'm kind of disappointed in all of you. I just knew one of you was going to win the lottery and donate the money to Rose State. Didn't happen. Would have been good, though. Could have been a tax write-off. Okay. So tactical plans are offered for specific projects. This is called project planning or immediate planning. I can see different projects like our upgrade of our campus. Obviously, that is a separate project than our normal everyday operations here on campus. Should they have involved that into the strategic plan? I would say no. But, to upkeep of the campus might want to be listed in there somewhere. Okay. Part 3 is managers and employees use operational plans to organize their day-to-day tasks. You should always, it's kind of one of those things, do you have a goal in your life? Hopefully your goal in your life is, Arlene had a student, wrote to introduce himself. I don't know if anyone ever had Arlene's classes. A lot of times she'll say, just introduce yourself. In an online class, you post an introduction. I don't know the student's name, so it's no big deal. But he was like, I don't want to be here. My parents told me to go here. My advisor stuck me in this class. I don't want to be here. I'm expecting a mediocre semester. That's where I got the mediocre from. It's literally,
She was that?
No, it wasn't her, but she got 105% on her assignment the other day, and I called her mediocre because she missed 5 points.
I didn't do it. You screwed up.
I know. But I was taking a speech class here at Rose State way back when, and it was funny. Day one, the teacher goes, all right, everybody take out a piece of paper. Write down your final grade. Literally, you wrote your name on it and your final grade. She goes, if you do exactly what I tell you to do, no more, no less, I will give you that grade. So what do you think I wrote down? An A. And at the end of the semester, she'd pull, she pulled out Ken Dewey. Okay, you gave 3 speeches, you took 2 tests, you got an A, done. People wrote B's and C's. Why would you do that? That's what the student wrote, Arlene. I'm expecting a mediocre performance this semester. So that's telling me you're already planning on doing only half your homework. Wow, Okay. Hopefully it wasn't one of you guys. If it was, that's not a good plan. When I applied for my PhD school, I had to provide my high school transcript. That stuff follows you forever. Ever and ever. So, luckily mine was decent. Okay. Says, operational planning, information security may have many objectives, such as configuration deployment of a firewall. Do we have one here on campus? Yes, it's a good thing. What if we did it? Maybe we should get one. Okay. Design and implementation of security education. That is, I think, where we're lacking here. We have, obviously, security training because y'all are in it. But what about for Mary, our secretary in the office? Does she know why she's changing her password? Does she have a clue? The school does not provide it. All we get is once in a while, hey, don't click on this email, it's a virus. But does anyone come out and say, explain what a virus is? No. But so I just think we're missing out on that. Okay. Security education, security training, and awareness programs. I think we're missing in that area. Okay. CISO says they should structure, come up with the first part of it, have an executive summary. When I was taking a project management class for my first master's degree years ago, we were broken into groups, and we had to install a swimming pool in Edmond. That was our job. At a group of students, I was one of them, and basically at this housing addition, we were installing a pool. So we had to come up with the whole project management of installing a swimming pool. Well, at the end of the semester, it comes time to give the presentation. I still remember this day. It made such an impact on me. So, we all sit down. It's our turn to go up there. The instructor's sitting right there in the front. And he goes, all right, go ahead, give me your executive summary. And he does, and he walks out. I'm like, what? He goes, oh, no, I'm the CEO. All I get is the executive summary. The executive summary is kind of the really, really high level. We're going to be installing a swimming pool in Edmond. It's going to take 16 weeks for $85 million, whatever. Just the real big overview. He goes, I'll look at your report later on. But was the CEO actually stay for the entire project briefing? No, they only want to see the executive portion of it, which I never even thought about it that way.
Also,
But
the top sheet or the one sheet.
yeah, it really just the very top, because it made sense. It got the point across that an executive summary should encompass the entire project in one paragraph or 2. You know what I mean? So obviously we need an executive summary. What are we doing with this stuff? Okay, our mission and our vision, our history and our profile. You always need to know where you're going, where you've been, where you're going to. Our values. Anyone been in the Air Force at all? Okay, what was it? Service before self and integrity above all. Is that correct?
I transferred from the Marine Corps, so I'm
think that's what it was. I got out 15, 16 years ago. I think that's what it was. Service before self and integrity above all. Okay. So, that should be something that sticks with you. Your goals and your values should be something you really. We read Rose State's values. Do I remember them, even though we read them 5 minutes ago? No, I don't. But again, I don't think they're ingrained in us as they would be in the military. Obviously, the Marine Corps. What was that one?
Honor, courage, commitment. That was wrong. You read the tattoo, but on this slide it had honor, courage, commitment as the core value.
Oh, it did have it, though.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So that's why you went out and visited this stuff. Now we know. Okay. All right. So program goals and objectives. Okay. Operational goals, independency, so on and so forth. Okay. Governance, risk management, and compliance. That's a really big issue. Governance. Actually, I think we're going to get into each one. It says, seeks to integrate the 3 responsibilities in one holistic approach that can provide some executive level strategic planning. So should we incorporate these 3 components? I would say yes. What's risk management? Managing risk, exactly like the name says. I think I mentioned last week we have risk right here. I'm literally having to step over an electrical cord to come and lecture. What are the odds that somebody sooner or later will trip on that? You know what's going to happen.
Pretty likely.
Yeah. Kim Greil, who is the person who keeps track of the equipment on Rose State, was walking in the door at the end of this building last week, about broke her arm on her floor that keeps popping up. It's amazing they came in and fixed them pretty quickly after that. Jerry Tittle in my old office tripped on a chair like that and busted her wrist and her elbow. I think I might have told you all that. But risk is everywhere. And how about compliance? You know what PCI compliance is, anybody? Credit cards. You take credit cards, you have to get called what's PCI compliance. It stands for Payment Card Infrastructure. I think it's Payment Card Infrastructure. But you have to pass certain things for that. When I used to take care of all the Anytime Fitness gyms around the city and Mustang and Lawton and everywhere else. I had to manage their PCI compliance. We had to do this spreadsheet and this crap all the time. It drove me nuts. But just different things you have to do. If I'm going to accept a Visa card, Visa wants to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. Okay? I spent nearly the entire day Thursday going over the changes to the cyber degree program. Found out we had a big flaw for the last 5 years. We didn't catch it until I was over Academic Affairs talking about Thursday morning and found that there's an issue in the way we were doing Gen Eds. It's being updated for the fall catalog. It doesn't mean you guys aren't going to graduate. It just means the way it was written was wrong. It literally broke all the rules. Problem was I had never been involved in that. Eileen did all that. Obviously it was wrong because we found a big major issue in it. Literally, it's been wrong forever. He's like, you can't do that. I'm like, what do you mean I can't do that? I'm not changing that. He goes, that's wrong. I'm like, dude, I haven't changed that. It's been there for 5 years. He goes, it's wrong. It's literally wrong. So we had to fix that too. All right, so there's a lot of components that are involved in this, okay? It says the InfoSec objectives must be addressed at the highest level to get buy-in. The salaries here at Rose State, we're a public granting institution. You guys can literally go online and see my salary today. It's not that much, okay? IT is outside of the salary band. In other words, we have a book of everybody, a professor starts here, a secretary starts here, IT's off of that because they need to get paid more. It's crap. But, but basically all that stuff, has to be put into your planning here. Okay. In order to be effective and offer a sustainable approach, we need something that works that we can continue to use. Okay. According to the Information Technology Government Institute, here we go, InfoSec Governments includes all of the accountables and methods undertaken by the Board of Directors in Executive Management to provide direction, objectives, progress work, goals, verification that you're doing it. I mentioned that software, how it would take 2 years to fix that piece of software I wrote. Because, we actually went through and looked to fix it correctly, to verify that it was going to be written correctly, fixed correctly, and tested correctly. That would take so long. Verification is a big issue. I told you guys I do all this mystery shopping. Why do I do that? We're verifying that the customer service given at these different organizations is up to up to speed. If no one ever checked Sonic, you think Sonic would be a good company? No. If no one ever came out to verify that they answered the call within 19 seconds, what's going to happen? They're going to get slower and lazier and so on and so forth. So, yeah. But yeah, verification is a big deal. Okay.
There's a story in the Amazon days when Jeff Bezos called in the big conference room customer service line because he asked the guy first, how long is the average wait time? And then after the 5 minutes called and he finally got through, he said, thank you. And he said, can you explain that?
There you go. I mean, they need to do that. Okay. You know, the bottom bullet, validation that assets are used properly. We have mobile devices here for a mobile device class. There was a reason why we didn't use them the last couple of semesters, is because of the whole Scott Stokely thing. But we were given to them by a Perkins grant, Carl Perkins grant. They actually came down here and like, we're giving you some Blackberries, some Android, some Apple devices. Are you guys, do you really have those? They literally, not no notice, but a very short notice inspection. And they came down here to verify that we were using them correctly. And we actually had them all inventoried, literally locked in a safe. And the guy's like, seriously? You actually have them in a safe? Yeah, we don't want them to get stolen. He goes, that's impressive. So he verified that we weren't, using them for something other than what we said we were using them for. Okay? And that's a big deal in IT. There's a lot of stuff that can be stolen quite easily. This monitor, what's the cost of this monitor? Anybody? $100?
Just 300.
Retail or?
Just, if I was going to best out, you think 300? Anything under 500 does not have to be inventoried.
Yeah, I think it's maybe like 200 at Best Buy.
Okay, so technically I could walk out the door with this monitor, as long as no one saw me doing it. They would just replace it because they don't even track it because it's so cheap. Okay, I mean it's crazy. I mean the television in the hallway. We got a TV out there. It's funny, they installed that TV years ago. Not that one, the one before it. Installed it years ago. Friday night during a cyber club meeting, someone came in and stole it. They literally, we even bought the $300 special lock, and we actually found the bolt cutters right around the corner over by room 129. They cut the lock through the bolt cutters around the corner and ran off with the TV while we were here having a meeting. It was like crazy, and it's just amazing. But that's kind of important in IT. Are you using? We had a unknown person on campus was taking excess IT stuff and selling it on eBay. Yeah, they weren't fired, which is crazy. They're no longer here, but they weren't fired. So, okay, outcomes. Okay, we have the strategic plan should align with the information security plan with the business strategy to support our objectives, to make sure we're doing. Now, if they don't, we obviously need to adjust it. Okay. Risk management, mitigate threats. Okay. We have virus scanner on campus. Wouldn't it be cheaper if we just got rid of the darn virus scanner? Yeah, but then we'd have more viruses. Okay. It's one of those things that, okay, we could go with AVG and that's free, but would it be good? Okay. Resource management by utilizing the knowledge and infrastructure efficiently and effectively. Are we using our classroom? That's actually something we monitor here on campus. Are we using the classrooms effectively? Now, with online classes, that's actually changing the way things work. But I'll tell you what, try to find an empty classroom in this building at 540. You can't. So, it's crazy. All right, performance measures by measuring, monitoring, and reporting the governance metrics to ensure the objectives are achieved. We got to keep track of all of this stuff. And I talked about in the other class, but when I was actually up in Missouri teaching, I was teaching teachers. As teachers, we each scanned our school. From the vSphere system, we scanned our college, the external side, well-known ports only, just to see if they're over there. We got a call from Cameron University, called OneNet, who called Rose State, who called me, who basically said somebody was scanning Cameron University from Rose State, from the visa system. I'm like, yeah, that was my class. And I also scanned us and no one even caught it. It was funny because he's like, you did? I'm like, yeah, and you didn't even catch it. So, point is, are you looking at all that stuff? Are you monitoring? Is our firewall being updated? Was it last spring? I looked at my PC. No, it wasn't last spring. It was last fall. It was like October time period. I looked at my PC in my office. I haven't had a Windows update since January. October. Hadn't had an update since January. I called over and what they said? We're building the install package right now. I'm like, no. You're building the package every week or two maybe. Not every 9, 6, whatever, 10 months. So that's just crazy. Okay. So, value delivery by optimizing the investments in support. Okay. And something a lot of people don't think about, but virtualization is a really big deal. Now, hopefully you know what that is. Okay. If you're not using it, wouldn't you consider that a waste of resources? What are you doing? Can you do it better? Can you save money? And sometimes it might take actually bringing in an outside entity to look at what you have to determine if you're doing it the best way possible. Okay. All right. So benefits, if properly implemented, increase share in the value for the organization. Makes sense. Increase predictability and reduced uncertainty of business operations. It's kind of along that line, but how often do you replace computers?
Every year.
Wow. 2 years? Anybody else? We have a 3 to 5 year plan here at Rose State. I would love every year. Myself, I probably do replace one every year. But is that really doable at the campus school level? No, there's no way. We couldn't afford it. But right now, we actually have a lot of classrooms that are outside that range because we have no money to replace them. And literally, I'm on the committee that decides what to replace. And we put the request in last year to replace the old ones. But I said, we have no money right now. They are still functioning. So why don't we go another year? Makes sense. We should replace them at 5 years. Like when I ran my ISP at my house, my servers got to 5 years old. And I don't know if you've ever purchased warranties before. 1, 2, 3 years cheap. Going up to 5 years gets expensive. Beyond 5 years is very expensive. So even though my servers were still functioning, they needed to be replaced. I didn't want to spend the money, so I sold the company. So I wanted to get out of it anyway. But that's all part of it. Okay. All right. That was the whole point about predictability. You know when stuff's going to fail. So when should you? If you keep track of all that, you should know how many viruses you're going to hit. You should know how many computers are going to die. We know what the expected enrollment's going to be before you all enroll. Okay. All right, protection from increased potential for civil or legal liability. Well, that really depends if you hire Scott Stokely or not. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of you suing us for $18 million. Crap.
Grounds?
We have no idea. No idea. I don't think he knew. Yeah.
Grounds probably improper termination or something like that.
It was wow. If you own, someday I spend an hour to tell you the entire story, but not today. Okay. So optimization for allocation of limited security resources. Okay. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could literally have a security guard sitting in every classroom?
No.
We would be secure, wouldn't we? Can you imagine us advertising? Rose State has the most secure campus. We have an armed security guard with an AR-15 in every classroom, 24/7.
I'd be scared to go to class.
Yeah, could you imagine? Would we ever get robbed?
That's prison.
Yeah, that's prison. But you can see where I'm going with this. There comes a point where you don't want to go that far. Okay, that's too much. Okay, so hopefully you have a lot less, but you use them. Like some of the if you walk around the middle of the campus, there's those pillars out there, like just outside my window. Well, there's actually these round metal things. I don't know what the hell they're called, but they're round metal things. The security guard has a little device. They click it, and it basically tracks them around. Each one of those is like coded with a code, I guess. And when they take their little thingy madoozy and click it, it says, lifeguards, at this date and time, they click this button. So then we can look, because we pay them. We say, you need to make rounds every so many whatevers. We can actually look. Yes, someone was walking around the campus every whatever the time period is. So we're using women, but we're making them accountable. Okay. Years ago, when I was actually at training for a year, or for the whole summer, someone broke in and stole all the textbooks out of my office. We had an entire library in the back. Stole an entire bookshelf full. Well, we looked at the cameras, and there was this one cleaning guy, always cleaning with a backpack on. Probably not a good plan. And you would notice at the beginning of the night it was always empty. Then at the end of the day it was always full. Is he putting trash in it? But he would always come out of my office with stuff in his backpack, and then he would go out to room 129, which is that far corner room. And he wouldn't leave the room for 4 hours. Anyone know why? The room has an external door. He'd open the door, jump in his car, go home, sleep for a few hours, then come on back, go back in through the door, pretend like he never left. Yeah, they fired him, but, actually, we used to have a snack bar in my office. I used to buy everything from Cokes to waters to cookies to ice cream to burritos, sold it for what I paid for it. It was for students and faculty, and everybody loved it. And every night I'd make sure it was stocked, because I had extras in the back. Then each morning I'd come back in, and it's like, wow, did I forget to stock it last night? And I didn't pay if I took something out of it. It makes sense, it's my stuff. But everybody else, if I bought a soda and paid 22 cents, I charge you all a quarter. So I just figured out what it cost, and the prices would change based on what I cost. But it never failed. Every time I go restock, it would cost me $200. So I'm like, if I'm charging what it's costing, either I'm eating a crap load or there's some theft going on. I actually put a camera in my office. Night one of camera, security walks in, grabs a candy bar and a soda and leaves. Cuts back in an hour later, grabs a burrito, cooks it in my microwave, and leaves. I literally, night one, that's the first day of a camera. So I had a really awesome picture of this guy with his hand right in the fridge. So I took his picture, blew it up, big old poster, so I put it on my door. Rose State Security's a thief. And I sent it to a couple people on campus. This is on a Saturday, I think it was. And Monday I get a note, could you please remove the poster from your door? I'm like, why? It's not a lie. Well, they fired the guy on the spot, and they said, how much did he steal? I'm like, how the hell should I know? So they gave me $50 and fired the guy on the spot. But that was someone that we hired to protect us. And so it's just crazy. You don't know what's going on around these places. Okay? So effective policy and policy compliance. Password policy. God, I hate password policy. But it's kind of important. If my password was password, probably will get broken into quite a bit. Okay? All right, benefits. A firm foundation for effectiveness and effective risk management, process improvement, and rapid incident response. If I knock this phone off the hook, what should happen? Security should answer. We're not going to test it. But I actually knocked one off the other day. And they did. They answered like, Rose State Security, can I help you? I'm like, wow, that was actually pretty quick. How long would it take to get him here? I don't know. But we would hope it would be very quick. I would hope we actually test that on campus. I'm assuming we do. Okay. A level of assurance that critical decisions are not based on faulty information. So if we actually review all this information, get enough people involved, hopefully it's being built correctly. Okay, safeguarding information during critical business activities. Okay, you guys hope that your grades are somewhat protected. Hope that your student IDs are not pasted all over the world. Okay. Right. How about mergers and acquisitions? You ever see? There's a lot of companies that change name all the time. Guidance Software just rebranded themselves. That's why I stopped getting the N-Case updates. Your rebranding sucked because you lost part of your business process, got screwed. I wasn't getting updates.
It cost BP $211 million to change their logo.
It's crazy. I go to Life Church, lifechurch.tv. Well, now they're life.church. It makes sense. But that has to cost money to do that. $211 million to change the logo. It's crazy. Okay, core activities. So conduct an annual InfoSec evaluation. We are failing right there, I'll tell you, right now. I tell them I should do one of these. I mean, get with my students, come up with a plan, and actually implement one. And you know what we've been told? Well, our data here at school is just too critical. We couldn't afford that. You can afford not. That's my opinion. You can't afford not. But I'm working on that. But see, we did kind of an evaluation years ago where we had some students not break into the school, but just we had Ian Byers, who actually works for IT now. He was a student at that point. Walked over to financial aid or student services. Said, "Hey, I'm John from IT. Here to fix your computer." Set him right down at the computer. "Oh, could you log in for me?" Logged him right in. And it's like, wow. A student went over to the get your ID card place. "My name's Eileen Dewey. I lost my ID card." Printed out a brand new one right there in the spot. Eileen Dewey with a student's picture on it. Wow. So I mean, there was a few issues. The only one that knew about it was the president. Only one on campus that knew.
This is kind of me. I have that one thing. Was it a female?
Yes, it was a female student.
Okay. I was about to say, I wanted to know how bad it was.
But, you know, when Ian got into student services, after he left, they actually called IT services, who then called the police and said, I said, whoa, stop, because they literally were like, "There's a shooter on campus, blah, blah." Now, a little late at that point, but at least they did finally do something. But ever since then, we're talking 10 years ago, our data's too critical to do something like that.
Is it blue team?
No, as far as I know, they're damn. I can't guarantee that though. Okay, you know, it's 90% of the people that work in IT are prior students, but once they get over there, they can no longer tell me anything because it's too important for me to know. We're an open enrollment public institution. You do realize freedom of information, you could literally get anything on campus. You could. You could say, "I would like to see the president's email for the entire month," and they give it to you. But you need a reason, but I mean, they would give it to you. So, you know, okay. But annual evaluations would be good. Reviewed by all kinds of people. CEO, board of directors. Okay, we're running out of time. Darn. Why do you guys make me go so slow? Okay, periodic risk assessment. Yes. No. I'm sorry, I can't just read slides and not give you background. It makes it so much more interesting. Okay. Other people just read slides. She's no longer here. Okay. Implement policies and procedures based on risk assessment or secure information assets. Okay. Establish security management structure to assign explicit individual roles, responsibilities. You know, that's something that's changing here quite a bit. With budget cuts, we're actually changing roles. Like we had a VP in charge of students, then a VP in charge of marketing. Now those being combined into one VP, so we're saving money. So I mean, that area changes all the time. Accountability, authority, all that stuff is always changing. Because you always want to, I mean, if you don't change, what's that? There's a saying in that. Those who plan to fail to plan. Those who fail to plan,
Plan to fail.
whatever.
Fail to plan to fail.
There you go. So if you don't do stuff like this, and if you're not making things better, I mean, you know.
You'll hire a consultant down the road and they're expensive.
Yes. And we hire consultants now. Our marketing is actually outsourced now to ABC Marketing. I don't know what the hell their name is. What? They don't want to. Okay. So there is a lot of stuff you need to do, and we do make changes here, which is good. We should. Everybody should. Develop plans, initiate actions to provide for adequate information security. And I don't think we do that correctly, but I'm on the committee that I submitted something 2 full years ago about these phones. My point is, this is a 2-line phone. It's got security by default. Why can't we add a second line to it? Internal only. That way, say I needed help with my microphone. Rather than delaying class and having to leave class and go and get raw, I could literally hit the button, dial his number, and get it. Makes sense, doesn't it? It would be the secondary line, not the security line. 2 years ago, I submitted that request. Still haven't met on it. Because the last meeting, whoever's in charge couldn't make it to that meeting. So we're having a meeting sometime this spring, which they're supposedly going to tell us what's up with that. But I mean, it's not that big a deal. I mean, we got a 2-line phone. And it's already done in the teleconference rooms that way, so it's not like we don't have a precedence already. But, there's a lot of times it's like, I need a marker. Actually, I don't actually have two now. But what if I needed a marker and it didn't have one? I would literally have to stop class, go get a marker. Wouldn't it be easier? Hey, Stephanie, could someone run down a marker real quick? We got a work study sitting in the office. But, that's, things we need to do. Okay. Risk assessment. Obviously, that needs to be part of it. Again, we have a risk officer on campus. I don't know if he, is doing a good job. I don't know. That's not my area. But I like it when we have a tornado. 30 minutes after the tornado has been gone, it's now free to leave your room. We've all been out of our room for 30 minutes. But, oh well. Okay. So establish a security management structure to assign explicit roles, responsibilities, authority. And, I got a question about it. Should this be in writing? Yes, I feel it should be. Should your disaster recovery plan be in writing? Yeah, it should not be, because I actually asked the question where ours was. I know it. So, okay, John, you just died in a car wreck. Well, Jimmy knows it. You and Jimmy were at lunch together. You died in a car wreck. Well, Brad knows. This entire building was white. Well, Mike over in the other building. No, what? Where's it in writing? This stuff needs to be written down. I'm assuming we have one now. Probably don't.
Because the U.S. revised its continuity of government plans after
Right.
9/11.
Yeah.
Member of the Senate Intelligence Committee requested it.
And they
Did
couldn't
not
find it.
access.
Nice. Okay, develop plans to initiate action to provide for adequate information security. Okay, makes sense there. Okay, treat InfoSec as an integral part of the system. Again, we don't have such top secret data here at Rose State, but we still have records for students. That is kind of important. We have my personal data. That's kind of important. And we're going to have to pick up on slide 27 next time. We ran out of time again, didn't we? We got 12:15?
Yeah.
Well, we'll finish this one slide. Okay. InfoSec awareness. I don't think we do anything in that area. We don't. Okay. Periodic testing. Again, I already told you we don't do that, but it should be done. Okay. Execute a plan for remedial action. You know what? You gave out critical information 5 times. Either you go to this remedial training or whatever. My travel planner who booked my last cruise screwed up miserably. I complained all the way up to the CEO of Carnival Cruise Lines, and I was told he will be retrained. What does that mean? I mean, he sucked really, really, really bad. I mean, I still went on vacation, but I mean, he sucked providing support. It actually ended up costing me, a little bit more. But I was told, oh, he will be retrained. Well, okay, good. You have. Oh, was he retrained? I don't know. Okay. So, develop and implement incident response procedures. Do you have them and are they published to people? What should we do? I mean, yeah, we have that thing right there. Who's read it? I don't know. I haven't seen it since it came out. I mean, I've seen it, haven't read it. Okay. Plans, procedures to test, provide continuity of operation. The funny thing is they never even told us to read it. I mean, I could see that, hey, there's a new, whatever that thing is, behind every door. Please go read it. I haven't even, no. Okay. And use security best practices. Okay. There we go. And there's basically a picture of what we just talked about. Okay. All right, we'll pick up on 29 next time. Wow, there's a lot more slides to go. Great. I'll do this on my own time now.